In the shadowed corridors of ancient Angkor, where kings mounted their thrones and mighty rivers whispered secrets, a different kind of royalty draped themselves in silken whispers. At the heart of the Khmer Empire, where stone deities kept watch, the art of silk weaving spun more than fabric. It wove identities. Beneath the gaze of immovable Buddhas, and in the flicker of temple fires, the mysteries of golden jewellery gleamed, pressing their weight against the skin, just as tradition pressed against change. Underneath the ritual elegance and opulence, nature's leeches teased beauty from blood, a dance as old as the apsaras themselves. Here in Earth's living history is where the drama of fashion played out amidst echoes of forgotten footsteps and enchanted garments, against a backdrop of empire that rose and fell like the tides. This is the story of a world where elegance was survival and survival was an art. In the early light of a lost world, let us find our way into the bustling heart of ancient Khmer civilization, where silk threads didn't just weave fabric but stories and souls. The Khmer were architects of empires and creators of a vibrant, layered society. Their legacy spun into silk as luxurious as it was pivotal. This delicate fabric was more than mere cloth. It was a symbol of status, woven intricately into the spiritual and cultural identity of a remarkably imaginative people. In the heart of Angkor, artisans commanded looms with an artistry that transcended generations, crafting silk into something that echoed the divine. This sacred craft was a dance between material and mystic, where every weft and weave carried the whispers of the celestial. In temple bas-reliefs and the vivid motifs of attire, we see the artisan's legacy, silk rich in natural hues, depicting the grandeur of a civilization at its peak. Travel back through time to when Zhou Daguan, a Chinese envoy of the late 13th century, stepped onto Khmer soil. His detailed accounts in The Customs of Cambodia offer an essential glimpse into the vibrant silk culture. Zhou expressed awe at the opulence of silk garments donned by Khmer elites. Festivals and grand gatherings became stages where silk's fluidity told tales, draping over the bodies of nobles, alive with colour and movement, reflecting a society saturated with spirituality and sophistication. Yet the relationship with silk was neither solely elite nor exclusive. The peasantry, though seldom wearers of this luxurious fabric, were integral to its production. In villages, sericulture was not merely a craft, but an essential lifeline, with peasants nurturing silk from cocoon to thread, their legacy etched into the vibrant landscape of the empire's power and prosperity. It was a testament to a resilient people whose everyday labour supported the empire's majestic tapestry. Beyond its worldly functions, silk held a spiritual resonance. It was not just worn, it was revered. In spiritual ceremonies and offerings, silk symbolised purity and divine favour, its radiant presence believed to draw the benevolence of gods. These sumptuous fabrics adorned temples, their ethereal gleam evoking the otherworldly. Sacred, too, was silk's role in crafting protective amulets and ceremonial attire, a woven shield against malevolent spirits, imbuing its wearers with an armour of tradition and belief. Imagine the sensory immersion, the gentle caress of silk against skin, its rustle a whisper of its silken tails, the air tinged with the earthy aroma of natural dyes, each thread a testament to the Khmer's artistry. These garments were not just seen or worn, they were experienced through senses. Silk became a narrative of elegance and vitality, a relic of human expression captured in fabric that continues to allure. This elegant fabric, fragile yet strong, embodied the arc of Khmer fate. Silk's delicate facade belied its durability, much like the empire it represented. Resilient but not immutable across time's inexorable march. It withstood the tropical climates, paralleling the tenacity of the people who shaped it. A poignant reflection of strength, intertwined with the beauty and vulnerability of life, much like the very empires that rose and fell. From the enduring ruins of Angkor, archaeologists have meticulously uncovered remnants of this ancient silk. These delicate threads, recovered from soil and stone, tell stories of a time when silk was not only a commodity, but a cultural cornerstone. In burial sites and temples, even the faintest threads endure as declarations of the artistic prowess of Khmer artisans, stitching together societal narratives long vanished into history. We anchor ourselves in these threads of Khmer silk, a journey not merely through material but through the essence of a civilization that cherished art, grace, and faith. The silk of Khmer antiquity embodies a delicate dialogue between permanence and transience, a gossamer link between past and present. Through it, we engage with the Khmer psyche, encountering a society that wove enchantment into the very weft of life, leaving tales as rich and textured as Angkor's ancient stones. The stories captured in these silken threads still resonate, urging us to unravel their mysteries with each unfolding layer of history. The Khmer Empire, an emblem of opulence in Southeast Asia, wrapped itself in the splendour of gold, adorning its civilization with dreams of divine essence, status, and eternal life. Archaeological digs within the royal palace reveal a trove of golden artefacts, whispering stories of an era enamoured with immortality and celestial favour. Gold wasn't merely a metal, it was woven into the empire's very fabric, symbolising divine light and royal power. Travellers like Zhou Daguan stood in awe at the opulent display throughout the empire. Temples gleamed with golden leaf, and nobles wore intricately crafted jewellery that played with sunlight like celestial dance partners. This connection to gold transcended decoration, informing spirituality and social hierarchy. Here, artisans were revered as much for their craft as the magic they seemed to wield. Their skills passed down through generations, each creation a testament to Khmer mastery. Within workshop walls, where history's alchemy unfolded, skilled goldsmiths practiced their craft with precision and artistry. Their hands conjured raw gold into jewellery, masks and idols, transcending ordinary craftsmanship. Techniques recorded in temple inscriptions reveal their meticulous methods, lost wax casting, granulation, to birth masterpieces that shimmered with spiritual significance. To the Khmer, gold was more than substance. It was the celestial embodied, a sliver of the spiritual made tangible. In royal courts, gold became a palpable expression of sovereignty and divine right, clothing kings and queens in garments that reflected their cosmic closeness. Gilded belts and fabrics signalled not just wealth, but a ruler's ability to command vast resources. Diplomatic exchanges included gold-laden gifts, a symbol of the empire's generous spirit, and a strategic gesture in the delicate dance of ancient rivalries. These golden tokens bridged realms, evoking the divine light that legitimized their reign. Stories of gold transcended time, mingling myth with reality, weaving tales of divine lineage and cosmic birthright. Oral traditions and carvings elevated gold as a hero in these narratives, fostering societal reverence and ensuring its allure endured through ages. Fireside storytellers painted nightscapes with shimmering fantasies, bringing to life stories where gold was the protagonist of prosperity and triumph. Gold's shimmer touched even the lives of commoners, echoing their connection to divine order. Marketplaces thrived with vendors trading tiny golden trinkets, tangible dreams amid perfumes and spices, symbolising a shared aspiration toward celestial harmony. These stalls, alive with negotiation, transformed commerce into a tapestry of shared cultural destiny, drawing gold closer to the people's pulse. Yet much of the empire's golden legacy was lost to time, war and plunder. Still, archaeologists have unearthed precious remnants, unravelling the ceremonial intricacies of a civilization that lived under gold's reflective glow. Each artefact, a piece of an epic puzzle, offers glimpses into social practices and power dynamics. Though time-tarnished, these relics quietly narrate tales of survival, mysticism, and devotion, echoing a world where gold bore the weight of both earth and spirit. In the spiritual realm, gold held profound significance, serving both as offering and idol. It adorned temple structures and garments of the divine, securing heavenly favour and cosmic balance. Temple reliefs illustrate these lavish ceremonies, while clergy donned golden attire, forging connections perceived as mystical between earthly and celestial realms. Gold transmuted from wealth into a divine essence, knitting a tapestry where belief intertwined with earthly manifestation. The Khmer Empire thrived through international trade networks, with gold artistry revealing influences from China, India, and beyond. Excavations note this cultural fusion in ornaments blending native and foreign styles. These routes didn't merely carry goods, they transmitted ideas, with gold acting as a conductor linking distant cultures. Each ornate piece told stories of Anglo's connections, marked by mutual appreciation and historical exchanges, adorning the craftsmanship that etched worlds into gold's lustrous surface. Throughout life, gold ritualised every crossing: birth, marriage, death. Burial sites across Angkor testify to gold's role as a bridge between the mortal and the eternal. Grave goods ensured safe passage to the afterlife, whispering tales of enduring bonds. This narrative of shared identity, rooted in spirituality and prosperity, saw gold as a memory's keeper, a golden thread binding past and present amidst life's transient chaos. Though Angkor's empire may have faded, Khmer gold's allure dances through history, invoking power, beauty, and spiritual yearning. Artifacts recovered serve as timeless chapters in human achievement, inviting modern imaginations to explore lost worlds. In weaving Khmer civilization's story of gold, we find ourselves caught in a gleaming journey across centuries. Through its radiance, we navigate history's tides, a beacon carrying echoes of Angkor's heart, an unbreakable bridge between cultures, memory, and eternal human desire. In the heart of the ancient Khmer Empire, where belief intertwined seamlessly with survival, the pursuit of health was both an art and a ritual. The Khmer people revered their healers as they would venerated guardians of an arcane world. Within fragmented Khmer medical texts, a universe emerges where science and mysticism dance together. These healers wielded remedies blended with elements from their natural world, using tinctures crafted from herbs, etched in temple reliefs and incantations murmured like sacred whispers in the night. Then there were the leeches, the dark, slippery surgeons of ancient times, traversing the skin not just for their bloodletting efficacy, but as essential bridges to spiritual purification. Such practices echoed through both the corridors of power and the humble homes of peasants, revealing a society deeply entranced by the enigmatic interplay between life and disease. Medicine for the Khmer extended beyond ailments or simple treatments. It was rooted in a holistic philosophy forged by a deep understanding of nature's bounty. Herbal treatments held esteemed status, as their virtues were meticulously carved into the bas reliefs of ancient temples, signifying the pulse of nature's pharmacy. These remedies, drawing strength from sacred plants, were intertwined with spiritual beliefs, channeling protection against malevolent spirits and devastating illnesses. Healers, akin to spiritual guides, exhibited the rare dexterity to blend these elements, restoring balance to the mortal frame. Thus, for the Khmer, medicine wasn't merely about health, it was an ongoing performance, a battle against unseen forces disrupting the eternal dance of life. Central to this medical tradition was bloodletting, a ritual deeply rooted in the belief that health relied on a precarious equilibrium of bodily fluids and energies. Among these rituals, the Leech facial stood out, reflecting a profound act of reconciliation between humanity and the cosmos. Leeches, famed for their blood-sucking efficiency, were employed to expel impurities, cleansing the soul through corporeal sacrifice. This process was not only about physical recuperation, it represented spiritual redemption, aligning the earthly self with astral harmony. While modern perspectives might view such practices with apprehension, for the Khmer, they were logical extensions of a cosmology where personal health mirrored celestial balance, guided by skilled healers, adept in the arcane arts of restoration. In this society, beauty and health were inseparable, each enhancing the other, as the curious tradition of leech facials vividly represented. Leeches feeding on blood were believed to impart rejuvenating qualities, eradicating impurities from the body and the soul. For the aristocracy, divine beauty was necessary, and this transformative process symbolised the shedding of societal and spiritual imperfections. It illustrated an aspect of Khmer culture that saw beauty extending beyond the aesthetic, rooted deeply within the spiritual realm, where the physical and divine interwoven intricacies mirrored each other. Healers facilitated a reciprocal flow of energy, bridging the earthly and celestial, while rituals like the Leech facial revealed the sophisticated understanding of existence that transcended surface-level appearances. Yet despite the celebrated role of leeches, the Khmer's most potent ally remained the sacred array of herbal treatments supporting their ancient medical repertoire. With an astute appreciation for their environment, Khmer healers catalogued and harnessed Asian flora, crafting medicinal infusions from aromatic plants like lemongrass, turmeric, and ginger. These plants, imbued with protective spirits, were seen not only as therapeutic agents, but as celestial ambassadors, bridging earthly maladies with spiritual sanctity. Temples played an intrinsic role in this medical universe, serving as living encyclopedias where spiritual, social, and medicinal practices were etched into stone walls. Bas reliefs and inscriptions portrayed healers amidst lotus blossoms, whispering spirits, and celestial beings blessing herbal compositions, all integral to Khmer healing. These temples emerged as centres of learning and practice, where knowledge transmitted through generations guided healers in blending divine wisdom with earthly remedies. The healers themselves held esteemed positions in Khmer society, bridging societal practices with their culture's mystical roots. They acted as curators of nature's botanical library and intermediaries between the spirits and the corporeal realm. Their revered status stemmed from their unique abilities to grasp and mend the complexities of human and divine interplay. Their hands transmitted whispers of divine knowledge, incantations infused with treatments countering both physical and metaphysical ailments. Through these skillful custodians, the Khmer Empire maintained a delicate cosmological equilibrium, a tapestry of human perseverance and cosmic compassion. Medicine, though deeply personal and spiritual, was also woven with economic and social implications. Treatments dictated status and wealth, as monasteries and elite quarters housed intricate medicinal tomes that common folk could scarcely access. Yet despite this disparity, communal beliefs in preventive healthcare allowed access to simpler remedies, ensuring community resilience under an egalitarian approach amid a stratified paradigm. This duality of egalitarianism and privilege accentuated medicine's role in demarcating societal status while also fostering a shared reliance on nature's healing prowess. The Khmer Kingdom, a hub of cultural intersection, embraced foreign wisdom and methodologies that enriched local customs with diverse therapies. These cultural exchanges persisted through traders, travellers, and monks, invigorating Khmer healing practices with novel concepts and remedies. As the Khmer exported their medical wisdom, they simultaneously absorbed external knowledge, demonstrating a dynamic interaction with the medieval world that rendered their medical legacy innovative and transformational. Amid this medical tapestry, ironies and contradictions emerged. The Khmer's advanced knowledge of leech efficacy stood with their reliance on spiritual interventions, embodying a civilization treading the narrow divide between empirical insight and mystic acceptance. These paradoxes were not anomalies but mirrored profound truths about human societies existing within harmonious discord, an enduring enigma illuminating the Khmer's ongoing quest for mastery over life and health's indistinct boundaries. The Great Tonle Sap, Southeast Asia's largest freshwater lake, ruled the very pulse of the Khmer Empire, its vast waters vital yet treacherous. It provided nourishment and shaped the lifeways of those dwelling by its expansive shores. Ancient village remnants whisper stories of settlements crafted upon stilt houses, fishing nets sprawling out like secrets eager to be unearthed. Nature's bounty came with its trials. The lake both sustained and entangled these people's existence with its rhythms. Their world was painted in broad strokes of waterborne challenges and the grit required to endure them. In this capricious terrain, life was far more than mere subsistence. It was a cultural odyssey. The waters mirrored the passage of the seasons, orchestrating festivals, agricultural rhythms and sacred rites. Archaeological finds from ceramic shards and boat designs resurrect the scene of a lively community thriving amid the cycle of give and take, adaptation and survival. Against this backdrop, we delve into the sombre reality of Khmer hygiene practices, less a tale of opulence and more a narrative of timely intervention amidst adversity. The struggle for cleanliness was starkly stratified, privilege its slippery, shimmering marker, revealing the unyielding social chasm bisecting the empire. Bathing for many was a pragmatic ritual amidst the mud and mire. In the absence of developed infrastructure, the peasantry converged along riverbanks and pond edges for their meagre ablutions. Stone served as brushes, bamboo as ladles, and mats the only barrier against the muck. Yet, within this simplicity, there lay an understated ingenuity. Lemongrass where soap failed, whispers of resilience where luxury was absent. Such baths became social crucibles, their importance magnified by communal ties rather than opulence, a delicate fusion of survival and mysticism. The stark contrast between commoners and the elite unfurled like a tapestry, woven with inequalities. The aristocracy luxuriated in sophisticated bathhouses, where pools brimmed with perfumed waters, amidst mosaics celebrating the lotus and the sun. Ceremonial oils and attendants were not mere extravagance, but declarations of power, serving hygiene and inscribing status. For the peasants, such opulence glimmered beyond reach. Their basic rituals emphasized functionality and endurance, even as they remained integral to village life and society's tapestry. Yet these water rites bore more than practical significance. They were steeped in spiritual overtones. Water itself was a mystical element, revered for its cleansing and protective powers. Practiced at the intersection of need and belief, these cleansing rituals were offerings to unseen forces, prayers to pacify spirits, hopes for divine favour. Thus hygiene intertwined with the ethereal, washing away more than physical dirt. It was purification echoed through prayer, an ode to the balance of realms both seen and hidden. Camouflaged amidst routine, these practices hosted treacheries of their own. The very waters nurturing life also brimmed with unseen enemies, waterborne ailments lurking in the depths, sowing illness throughout communities. Tonle Sap, a daily companion in this tapestry of survival, mirrored nature's impassive cruelty. Yet, the Khmer answered with tenacity, born of necessity, wielding medicinal knowledge against rampant threats. Carvings and texts reveal a lexicon of herbs and leeches, ancient wisdom flowing across generations, bridging the chasm between need and hope. In this landscape of uncertainty, communal water festivals swelled, merging necessity with celebration. Bon Om Tuk, it heralded the revered whimsy of river flows, a cosmic dance affirming humanity's small but vital place in the universe. These celebrations, filled with ritual serveries, feasts and synchronized rowing, reaffirmed bonds between water, spirit and community, reviving ties as old as time itself. Scattered architectural marks further illuminate the lives of these resilient souls. Elementary bathing structures strategically positioned to harness and mitigate nature's caresses and curses. Raised platforms and crafted stone steps enshrined a practical wisdom in taming the environment's whims, despite meagre materials. These sites, though humble, symbolise the adaptability in an ancient habitat where resources were scant. Water's role in sustaining both agriculture and hygiene reveals the sophistication with which the Khmer navigated their watery world. Ingenious irrigation systems channeled life-giving floods to feed crops while vying for cleanliness, storytelling of a mindful equilibrium between conflicting needs. Employing sand and charcoal, simple filtering honoured the Khmer's innovative spirit, keen to transform limitation into triumph. Chronicler accounts wielded the power of eyes from different lands. Documents from visitors like Zhou Daguan reflect the estranged curiosity with which outsiders perceive these practices. Communal washing scenes beside tumultuous waters, tales laced with necessary ingenuity. These glimpses accentuate resilience, peeling back layers to reveal social dynamics painted in hues of gritty elegance and resourceful interdependence. The echoes of those ancient customs resonate today, seeping into Cambodia's modern tapestry through rituals and festivals encountered in the heart of rural life. Despite the march of time, streams and ponds remain central to communities, nodding to the long dance with history. The grand spectacle of water festivals, modern and ancient, echoes with a shared consciousness, a lineage resilient enough to honour tradition while embracing change, binding past to present with the fluid thread of water, cleansing, and spirit. In the mystical tapestry of the Khmer Empire, the legend of the Apsaras weaves a thread shimmering with divine intrigue. These celestial dancers, born from the churning of the ocean of milk, emerge gloriously in the carvings at Angkor Wat, embodying movements both mythic and mesmerising. Their tale is one of delicate beauty and potent influence, cherished by the Khmer kings, who saw in them a reflection of their own divine mandate. Not mere performers, these ethereal beings existed as intermediaries, bridging the chasm between the mortal and divine with every intricate gesture. Stepping through the opulent courts of Angkor, where incense thickened the air and gongs reverberated like distant thunder, the Apsaras conjured a spectacle that was both sacred and spectacular. Meticulous in craft and rich in ceremony, these performances submerged both the dancer and the spectator into a narrative laced with cosmic harmony and political nuance. Each movement, each precise gesture, spoke a liturgical language. A prayer whispered in the guise of dance, invoking the blessings and reaffirming the power of the king before courtly eyes. The attire of the Apsaras was no less divine than their dance. The garments, silken tapestries, in vibrant hues, spun with shimmering gold threads captured light as they flowed, transforming the dancers into visionaries of grace. Goldsmiths, revered as almost divine artisans, crafted intricate jewellery, echoing natural and celestial motifs, further connecting these earthly dancers to their heavenly counterparts. Jo Dagwan, in The Customs of Cambodia, chronicles these adornments as cloaks of divine authority, each piece meticulously crafted to not just beautify, but symbolise deep cosmological truths. In Khmer culture, the divine feminine found robust expression through Apsaras, who transcended mere entertainment. Representations of goddesses such as Parvati and Lakshmi on temple walls spoke of a society that revered the feminine divine as an equal or superior to their masculine counterparts, honouring their roles as creators and sustainers. The Apsaras, with their sacred performances, reified this reverence, allowing Khmer people to witness the divine feminine through mesmerising storytelling woven deep within their dances. Archaeology, peeling back the layers of time, reveals artefacts and traces that light the path to understanding this socio-cultural phenomenon. Fragments of their exquisite attire, pieces of gold jewellery, and vivid frescoes speak volumes about the life and artistry enveloping these dancers. Each finding, whether a carved headdress or a shard of fabric, narrates a snippet of their interconnected world, one where artistry, devotion, and culture entwined seamlessly. Training to become an Apsara was itself a divine pilgrimage. Aspirants selected for their grace and intent were initiated into an art guild operated within sacred temple grounds. Here, the young were inducted into a world where each dance was not just a display, but a spiritual vocation. They learned not only the physical rigour needed, but also delved into the symbolic gestures that gave each dance its soul. Oral traditions suggest that this apprenticeship, akin to spiritual rebirth, marked their transformation into vessels of cosmic storytelling. The fame of Angkor's Apsaras transcended borders, their influence echoing far and wide. As Angkor engaged with neighbouring realms through commerce and diplomacy, these dancers became cultural emissaries, gifts that underscored Khmer identity. Historic records, littered with descriptions of awestruck visitors, reveal how these performances promoted alliances and spread Khmer spiritual and artistic traditions across Southeast Asia. The stylized influence laced through Indian and Javanese art underscores the far-reaching impact of the Apsaras. The language of the gods, inscribed through Apsara dance, communicated ethereal tales. Each deliberate flick of a wrist, gentle foot placement, and poised posture conveyed divine narratives, bridging gaps between worlds. By embodying cosmological stories, the dancers enraptured audiences, immersing them in timeless myths that resonated through the bas-reliefs of Angkor's carved stones. These elegant performances transcended earthly tales, softly reverberating with divine mystery and cultural continuity. In today's world, the resurgence of Apsara dancing stands as a beacon of cultural renewal. Surviving the tumult of recent Cambodian history, the dance emerges not just as a cultural artefact, but as a symbol of resilience, a thread binding past to present. Modern performers, embracing traditional techniques while branching into new expressions, breathe life and relevance into this rich art form. Partnerships with global cultural institutions have solidified their place on the world stage, thus ensuring that the Apsara's legacy not only survives, but thrives with vibrancy. The enduring legacy of Apsara speaks to their profound cultural significance. They capture imaginations, ignite visions, and articulate a sacred history embedded in Khmer spirituality. Their dance, elegantly transcribed into the annals of time, poses as a reminder of the beauty and transcendence inherent in human expression. Whether on ancient walls or modern stages, the Apsaras glide through time, binding generations in shared awe, continually threading through the corridors of cultural memory. In the shadowed halls of Angkor's mighty temples, the laws of the Khmer were etched forever in stone. These tablets, embedded within the grand architecture, held more than simple decrees. They were lifelines of a civilization entwined with the philosophies of Hinduism and Buddhism. Here, laws were not mere words, but sacred scripts created with deliberation by scholars, priests, and kings, capturing the ethos of a society governed by moral and cosmic order. Regarded as both decrees of governance and eternal proclamations, these inscriptions underscored authority and divine endorsement, visible to all who entered these spiritual realms. From civil disputes to edicts on property rights and severe criminal punishments, these stone canvases presented a vivid account of Khmer society's expectations and cultural narratives. The law thus sculpted held a mirror to the collective Khmer identity, interweaving justice with the sacred. Despite their beauty, these stone-carved rules portrayed a justice system often brutal in its operation. Petty offences might invite public shame or corporal reprimand, but theft, treason, and adultery ushered in a far grimmer fate. Dismemberment, execution, and enslavement served as both retribution and public deterrent, turning punishment into public spectacle. These were more than punitive acts. They were moral lessons enacted under the scrutiny of a community that judged and learned from the spectacle. Remarkably, Khmer law integrated a retributive justice that sought balance, requiring punishments to symbolise and materially correspond to the crime. A thief, for example, might work to restore what was stolen, a model reflecting restorative strands within the harsher frame of retribution. Penalties were also shaped by societal standing, where the severity often danced in tandem with the accused's rank, highlighting how deeply class influenced justice in ancient Angkor. The fusion of law and religion was inescapably tangible, with the king wielding his spiritual and political power to enact sacred justice. Laws imbued with spiritual significance demanded that illegal acts disturbing the divine balance be remedied to restore cosmic order. Transgressors might endure religious rituals to cleanse their spirits, while trials could devolve into divine tests where sacred rivers or venomous snakes decided guilt. Theft was especially taboo, an echo of Angkor's feudal structure, where property symbolised survival and status. Temples chronicled these breaches, depicting theft as attacks on community integrity. Justice was stringent but meticulously applied, with outcomes swayed by witness accounts, and evidence to ensure both societal balance and communal healing. Class disparities thrived within this structure, tinging justice with inequity. Nobility could often evade harsh sentences, leveraging wealth and status, while peasants faced immediate and often merciless judgment. This favouritism, remarked upon by foreign chroniclers, baffled many but was viewed as a fixture within the hierarchy that governed Khmer life. Trials conducted within sacred temple precincts or royal courts embraced ritualistic elements to sanctify the pursuit of justice. Rituals that included offerings, prayers, and divine challenge bestowed trials with spiritual gravitas, where judgments were believed to bear the weight of cosmic approval, binding law to a celestial plane. Even in this severe landscape, clemency found its space. Compassionate acts of pardon punctuated the application of justice. Royal amnesties and victim pardons aligned mercy with political and divine favour, frequently aligning with religious observances. The presence of monks facilitated forgiveness, emphasising Khmer law's engagement with spiritual reconciliation. Foreign eyes gazing upon this legal tableau recorded impressions that ranged from admiration to bewilderment. Chroniclers like Zhou de Guan offered windows into Khmer jurisprudence, noting the mystical power and complex interactions of law, spirituality, and governance. Their narratives painted Angkor as advanced yet steeped in strange confluences of faith and legal practice. At the heart of Khmer law lay a focus on restoration and reconciliation. Legal battles over property or discord sought communal harmony over mere punishment. Compensation was pragmatic, yet it embodied symbolic restoration, repairing community fabric while acknowledging wrongs. This nurturing of social cohesion through legal means underscored a justice-seeking earthly and divine equilibrium. Today, echoes of Angkor's legal system ripple quietly through modern Cambodian society. While contemporary laws align with international codes, the ethos of mercy, community resolution, and restitution reflect an ancient legacy. In rural areas, informal mediation bears the imprints of these enduring traditions, as ancient wisdom continues to guide and inspire justice in Cambodia today. The markets of ancient Khmer civilization were pulsating centres of life, transcending mere commerce to become melting pots of social and cultural exchange. Stepping into a bustling Khmer marketplace was like diving into a maelstrom of human activity, where the air hummed with the spirited negotiations of buyers, the rhythmic clink of scales balancing exotic spices, and the hypnotic clatter of craftsmen perfecting their wares. This vibrant spectacle epitomised the heart of community life, far removed from the silent ruins left behind. These locales were lively arenas where the textures of culture and commerce interwove, reflecting the splendour and complexity of the Khmer Empire. Markets served not just as economic centres, but as hubs where people converge to share stories, exchange rituals, and weave narratives. merging ideas from across the empire's vast expanse. Traders spoke of distant lands while travellers shared tales of adventure, adding layers of richness to the tapestry of Khmer society. The marketplaces echoed shifts in political might, their stalls veritable indicators of the empire's health, brimming with luxurious goods in prosperous times and showing the threads of shifting alliances. The throng of voices painted a picture of societal structure, where interactions between the peasant vendors and noble buyers underscored the subtleties of class distinctions and dependencies. The markets were alive with a sensory tapestry, engaging sight, sound and smell in a harmonious blend. Picture the creaking of ox-drawn carts over cobblestones, children weaving through stalls, vendors vociferously promoting their fresh produce. Fishmongers displayed their shimmering catches while the sweet spicy incense wafted from stalls of religious offerings. The olfactory symphony defined culinary traditions with coriander mingling with ginger and turmeric perfuming the air, reminders of meals bursting with life and flavour. These vibrant spaces were not merely venues of trade, but of shared existence, creating enduring memories as rich as the goods exchanged. The stalls brimmed with a cornucopia of goods spanning the empire and beyond. Silk and ceramics from China, textiles and spices from India, all testified to robust trade networks and a vibrant marketplace, prefiguring globalization. Archaeologists have unearthed Indian spices in earthenware and fragments of Chinese porcelain, offering tangible relics of a lively past. Here, trade transcended monetary value, fostering cultural dialogues that enriched community diversity, reflecting this vitality through artifacts left behind. Charting the traders' paths across Southeast Asia unveils a network of routes both land and sea, integral to Khmer commerce. Traders embarked from Angkor, navigating perilous terrains and waters, their journeys fraught with danger yet brimming with reward. These routes, uncovered by chroniclers and European explorers, unveiled a commerce landscape thriving despite challenges. They opened conduits for trade that facilitated the exchange of cultures and ideologies, rendering Angkor a cosmopolitan centre. Tracing these paths reveals not only the goods flow, but the cultural confluence that coloured this vibrant empire. Traders who frequented Khmer markets were seasoned veterans, their stories as rich as their wares. Foreign travellers like Zhou Daguan painted vivid depictions of their lives, bringing market activity to life. Renowned and skillful, these traders knew the intricacies of trade laws and overcame the threats of piracy, often brokering peace and partnerships. Their stories passed through generations, highlight adaptability and shrewdness, thriving despite challenges, turning the marketplace into a bustling stage of life. The market's architecture mirrored the diversity within, stalls crafted from bamboo and thatch, standing resilient against tropical weather. Built to meet the needs of vendors and buyers, they reflected Angkor's organised planning. Artistic flourishes graced these structures, motifs of myth and legend inscribed with stories of Nagas or depictions of Vishnu, underscoring trade's integration into spiritual life. Visiting a marketplace meant stepping into an arena of economic, artistic and social convergence. Marketplaces were intersections of class where social strata mingled, creating microcosms of the empire's structure. Here, nobles adorned in gold made deals with merchants, peasant wares bartered next to luxury stalls. This juxtaposition was striking, revealing societal hierarchies and offering glimpses into the dynamics of Khmer life, where peasant and noble engaged in negotiations and trade, fostering a lexicon of survival across society's layers. In Khmer life, spirituality woven through commerce was palpable. Superstition coloured transactions, auspicious days dictating business ventures, rituals inviting divine favour. Deity statues guarded stalls. Vendors sought Brahmin blessings, entwining trade with faith. Markets transformed into spiritual ecosystems where divine and human enterprise harmonised. A testament to Khmer understanding of life's woven fabric. Though physical traces of these markets have mostly faded, their legacy endures as inscriptions and chronicles keep their stories alive. Within today's global marketplaces, echoes of ancient Khmer scenes serve as reminders of community, cultural exchange, and the bridge spanning distances and differences. These marketplaces were arenas of life, emblematic of the Khmer Empire's zenith, a vivid, enduring tapestry of commerce and culture. In the Khmer Empire, echoes of grandeur and necessity wove the tapestry of daily life, each thread revealing stories of power and resilience. The aristocracy lived in sprawling estates, where architecture whispered of an era steeped in luxury and control. Wooden columns draped with silk and adorned with intricate carvings supported sprawling homes surrounded by fragrant gardens. Within these confines, the rustle of opulent garments mingled with the scent of incense, while the elite indulged in arts and revelry, reinforcing their rank and cultivating their cultural hegemony. The interiors were no less grand, boasting delicate furniture made from the finest woods, adorned with motifs of nature and myth. Walls displayed vibrant murals portraying divine narratives and historical exploits, and gold and silver embellished both sacred artifacts and personal treasures, a testament to the entwined nature of worldly wealth and spiritual aspiration. In contrast, the peasants' dwellings told a tale of perseverance amidst adversity. Constructed from bamboo and thatch, these humble abodes offered only rudimentary protection from the elements. Inside the bare essentials of existence, simple pottery, agricultural implements, and makeshift beds bore witness to a life focused on survival rather than comfort. Yet it was within these modest homes that families bonded, their lives marked by the rhythm of agrarian toil and the communal spirit that bound their tight-knit villages. The daily grind of labour, from rice farming under the relentless sun to the crafting of rudimentary tools, underscored an unyielding endurance against the vagaries of nature. Though their resources were limited, the peasants' cultural expressions, their music, their stories, offered moments of solace and joy, vibrant echoes of human resilience amidst hardship. While the elite donned garments of silk stitched with gold, their sartorial choices symbols of rank and opulence, the lower classes embraced simplicity, born of necessity. Their clothing, crafted from locally produced cotton, and often dyed in natural hues, was practical and unadorned. Jewellery, if worn, was fashioned from wood or bone. Yet even within these constraints, creativity flourished, each piece telling a story of personal expression and cultural tradition. For both classes, clothes were more than fabric. They were markers of identity, harbouring stories of personal heritage, beautifully inscribed in every thread and stitch. In the culinary sphere, tables laden with delicacies marked the aristocratic dining experience. Feasts where fragrant rice and spiced meats mingled with exotic produce from distant lands. Banquets were arenas of political engagement, where alliances were forged and hierarchies subtly asserted. Meanwhile, the peasant diet relied on the bounty of their environment, rice forming the staple foundation of every meal. From local waters came fish, preserved through age-old techniques, complemented by wild vegetables and fruits. Despite its simplicity, peasant fare was a tribute to resilience, a testament to sustainable living, etched within the rhythms of agrarian life. In death, class distinctions shape the rites observed for the departed, extending beyond life's confines into the afterlife. The elite's graves were adorned with riches, jewels, ceremonial weapons, and precious metal vessels, suggesting a continuous journey beyond the mortal realm. Cremation was a path for the privileged, with ashes stored in ornate reliquaries. Among peasants, graves were marked with simple stones, containing modest personal belongings meant to accompany the deceased on their spiritual voyage. Yet every burial spoke of deep respect, underscoring shared beliefs about existence beyond life, echoing a universal desire for transcendence. Daily labour offered another lens through which societal divides were visible. For nobles, roles in governance and cultural patronage peppered their days, responsibilities bearing no less weight than their luxuries. They were the king's advisors, mediators of power and culture. Spiritual duties charged their daily existence, rituals linking them to the divine. For peasants, dawn heralded work governed by survival's demands. Fields and rivers beckoned, offering sustenance through grueling toil. Yet even this labour danced with the sacred. Fields dotted with shrines to spirits and ancestors. Labour and worship inseparable in their lives. Education underscored societal divides. The nobility's knowledge pursuit was expansive, learning from masters in literature, history, astronomy, observing how the cosmos intertwined with governance and artistic endeavours. In contrast, peasant education emerged from the hearth, communal and oral, stories and folk wisdom woven into the fabric of everyday living, grounding them in practical knowledge essential for survival. But within temples, peasants glimpsed broader spiritual teachings, moments of transcendence amid life's grind. Justice tilted heavily toward those in power, where legal navigation was steeped in influence. Affairs conducted within intimate circles, free from the rigidity binding the lower classes. For peasants, laws inscribed on temples warned of the harsh penalties for transgressions, offering order through deterrence. Yet community elders often bridged justice with understanding, mediating disputes far from the ironclad codes enshrined above. Entertainment, too, mirrored societal structures. Courtly performances were grand narratives of culture and power. Apsara dancers, dreamlike evocations of divine homage. Amongst the peasantry, music and dance erupted naturally, channels of communal identity, a chorus more egalitarian in spirit than their aristocratic counterparts. And throughout, faith wove the world's sacred and mundane. Temples towering, shrines humble, all bearing silent witness to a shared humanity. In the shadows of Angkor, amid whispering forests and echoing chambers, the temples stood as the proud testament of a bygone empire. Looming yet serene, their stone bodies etched with stories of gods and men. Walking through these ancient corridors, one could almost hear the hushed voices of the ancients, feel their intent carved into sandstone reliefs, the Khmer belief system unfurling in elaborate iconography, stones arranged with the precision of celestial choreography. These architectural wonders were far more than regal displays. They were cosmic maps designed to bring heaven closer to earth, aligning perfectly with the heavens, as if to tether the stars themselves to the mortal realm. The stones sang with the secrets of the universe, silently watching over rituals that connected the mundane to the divine. Held together by an unseen energy, that believers felt like the warm breath of a nearby spirit. Guardians of the unseen guarded these sacred edifices. Imbued in Khmer cosmology were the spectral sentinels, spirits who kept vigilant watch over the sacred grounds, unseen but eternally present. They flanked temple doorways in stone reliefs, lent their blessings or curses according to the social harmony within the temple's confines. These spectral beings were not mere decorations. They were woven into the very ethos of the Khmer, revered as protectors who would bless the devout and ensure the universe remained tilted in favour of balance. During ceremonies, their presence was palpable, their silent embrace, both a comfort and a warning, as the people strived to appease these custodians with offerings and respect, ever mindful of the stories where spirits had intervened in human affairs. Across this mystic landscape, another force slithered into the heart of Khmer spirituality, the revered Naga, or serpent. Guardian spirits in their own right, these mystic serpents adorned temple gateways, weaving through the cultural and spiritual consciousness of the Khmer like a river through a valley. Representing life, water and fertility, Nagas were indispensable to the agrarian society that leaned heavily on their favour for prosperity and protection. Rituals dedicated to these serpentine deities were woven with a fervent pleas for rain and abundant harvests, underscoring a deep and practical spirituality that bound the Khmer in an intimate dance with nature's cycles. Life within these temples was punctuated by divine performances, where celestial dancers, swathed in enchanted garments, graced courtyards with movements aimed at appeasing the heavens. The Apsaras, dancers seemingly birthed from the very stone itself, embodied this ethereal exchange, where each dance was a dialogue with the divine, and each gesture a solemn prayer. Through dance, the Khmer communicated with the cosmos, the dancers acting as sublime vessels of sacred energy, twirling through the intricate symphony of flute and drum beats as spectators were drawn into a spiritual trance. Beyond dance and statues stood altars heavy with offerings, tokens of gratitude gifted to gods, spirits, and ancestors alike. These gifts, whether humble or grand, were lifelines to a metaphysical world humming invisibly around the Khmer. Everyday life was entwined with these offerings, mingling the living with the spirit realm, forging a relationship of deep reciprocity where material gifts could ward off misfortune or invite divine favour. The practice matured not in its grandeur, but in its consistent, unwavering devotion, a reflection of an existence in harmony with the supernatural. Among the most solemn rituals were those of blood sacrifice. Blood, the essence of life, was a powerful symbol, its offering considered the ultimate act of devotion. Sacrifices were the punctuations in the story of the Khmer, conducted to cleanse, appease and renew during festivals, calamities or transitions. With every drop spilt, the community sought an intimate connection with the divine, a collective heartbeat that throbbed in synchrony with the cosmos. The alignment of these temples with the heavens was no coincidence. The Khmer crafted their sacred spaces with a precision that honoured celestial cycles, believing these astrological alignments empowered their rituals with cosmic significance. Every sunrise that pierced the temple gates on solstices was a reminder of their place in the universe, the sun casting blessings through corridors lined with their prayers. The cosmic choreography of the heavens and earth was a dance they performed with delicate artistry, binding their rituals to a universal tempo. Foreign eyes beheld these spiritual practices with curiosity and reverence. Observers such as Zhou Dagwan chronicled their encounters, depicting a Khmer world resonant with mysticism and rich with rituals that appeared both strange and compelling. To outsiders, it was a society where religion and daily life were entwined, with temples serving both as sacred sanctuaries and centres of mystical endeavour. These accounts, while sometimes viewing Khmer spirituality through a lens of exoticism, offered insights into the profound depth and coherence of their beliefs, painting a vivid picture of an intricate spiritual landscape. Monks, the steadfast custodians of this supernatural knowledge, played crucial roles as translators of the divine. These religious luminaries, revered as keepers of spiritual truths, shepherded the temporal and mystical, weaving celestial wisdom into the community's moral fabric. Monks ushered others toward understanding, provided counsel to the ruling elite, and acted as esteemed oracles in a world deeply embedded with signs and prophecies. Their guidance was sought in both spiritual and mundane matters, for they straddled the line between divine mystery and earthly reality with unparalleled wisdom. Today, these vestiges of Khmer spirituality continue to echo through history, enduring testament to an empire's ability to weave the heavens and earth into a singular tapestry of faith and devotion. The ceremonies, observances and stories they etched in stone linger like whispers in the modern world, a haunting reminder of the timeless dance between humanity and the divine. In the grand saga of human civilization, few tales rival the magnificence and tragedy of Angkor. It was a kingdom whose once thunderous glory now whispers through the haunting emptiness of its fallen temples. The reason for its decline remains an enigma, tangled in a web of climate disasters, invading forces, societal shifts and inner unrest. Was it the unforgiving wrath of nature, the relentless march of foreign powers, or something far deeper that ultimately caused its downfall? Angkor's decline is not merely a story of ruin, but a complex tapestry, woven with shifts in society, environment and politics. By unravelling these factors, we uncover truths that speak not only to the past, but also offer reflections that resonate with us today. Climate, Angkor's once favoured ally, became its silent adversary. The empire flourished under favourable conditions, with elements conspiring to enrich its fields and reservoirs. But nature is fickle. Prolonged drought struck with unprecedented severity, drying rivers and withering forests, turning fertile expanses into barren stretches. The lifeblood of agriculture, rice fields, shriveled, leading to shortages and internal strife. Angkor's mighty reservoirs, the bares, stood as marvels of ingenuity, but proved powerless against nature's relentless cycles, revealing the limits of even their engineering prowess. While nature was at play, so too were the ambitions of new powers. Invaders sensed opportunity as internal instability eroded the once impenetrable defences of Angkor. Among the threats was the kingdom of Ayutthaya, which rose to prominence, encroaching on Angkor's territories and weakening its borders. Lost battles were not the only consequence. The cultural fabric itself began to erode. The empire, once a bastion of Khmer identity, found its societal structure unravelling, leaving it vulnerable to external influences and internal fragmentation. Inside Angkor, societal fissures widened, undermining the very framework that had held the empire together. With famine haunting the land and warfare draining its resources, the rigid social hierarchy began to crack. Competing elites driven by power lust exacerbated divisions rather than mending the decaying framework. As the civic structure weakened and decentralisation set in, rural communities drifted from the once dominant capital, focusing instead on their survival. This drift signified not just a shift in power, but the disintegration of Angkor as a unified entity. Amidst economic challenges and political upheaval, a deep religious transformation permeated Angkor. The coexistence and rivalry between Hinduism and Buddhism coloured the empire's spiritual and cultural landscape. The bas-reliefs in temples echoed these shifts, depicting a saga of divine struggle and altering spiritual values. These changes weren't isolated to temples, but spread through society, leading to conflicts that cast long shadows of disunity, contributing to the kingdom's fragmentation and loss of a cohesive identity. Archaeological digs provide a poignant narrative of Angkor's past. The earth offers glimpses of its rise and decline through shards of pottery, toppled structures, and remnants of life left behind. Major excavation sites reveal that even construction methods and materials evolved, marking periods of decline. The silent remnants speak volumes of a society resisting nature's fury, cultural invasions, and its own internal discord, echoing the grand drama that played out on its once thriving stage. Through the eyes of foreign guests and wanderers, the story of Angkor's waning years is illuminated. Most notable are the accounts of Zhou Daguan, whose writings, though tinged with bias, offer a glimpse into the empire's socio-political climate in the late 13th century. His observations form a narrative of fading grandeur and the emergence of new societal realities, giving a voice to the empire's struggle against existential threats. Angkor's urban centres, once buzzing with life, slowly succumbed to silence. The vibrant hubbub of a thriving capital gradually dulled as its inhabitants migrated, abandoning architectural marvels that deteriorated in neglect. This wasn't a sudden departure, but a gradual withdrawal dictated by survival and the lure of new economic opportunities along emerging trade routes. A shift in economic focus, dictated by necessity, signalled the end of Angkor's dominance, leaving the capital as a mere testament to its past splendour. Reflecting on Angkor's decline offers profound lessons. Its story warns of the perils of environmental neglect and the dangers of division in times of crisis. It reminds us of the need for adaptive resilience in governance. These historical lessons serve as cautionary tales for the modern world, echoing with relevance as we navigate cycles of prosperity and peril. Angkor's fall underscores the transient nature of power and the critical importance of learning from history to protect our future from similar echoes of downfall. While the Empire of Angkor fell centuries ago, the ruins continue to tell a tale waiting to be uncovered. This history stretches beyond echoes, shaping a dialogue between past and present. As we explore Angkor's demise, we transcend its ruins, bringing ancient insights into contemporary consciousness. We turn ruins into reminders, ensuring the whispers of Angkor resonate beyond time, moulding our understanding of history and kindling a resolve for a future strengthened by past wisdom. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. If you found this story engaging, please like and subscribe for more explorations of the ancient world.